Alright students, in this video I'm going to go over how to factor trinomials when the a value is bigger than 1. So anytime you factor, please remember GCF is your first step. Find if there's any greatest common factor between all of these terms. So right away 3, 9, and 30 are all divisible by 3, so we're going to write 3 and factor that out, and then we're going to have m squared plus 3 is being divided into all of these terms, so 9 divided by 3 is 3, and then negative 30 divided by 3 is negative 10. So here you have a trinomial, m squared plus 3m minus 10, that now needs to be factored into two binomials. And to get those two binomials, we're going to draw our x as a strategy, where on the top we put a product and then a sum of the two numbers that we're going to have here. This top number comes from the c value, so that's negative 10, and the middle goes to the bottom, plus 3. Okay, so then we think about what do you multiply to get negative 10? That is 1 and 10, and then 2 and 5. 2 and 5 can give you that 3 if we subtract. So the positive 3, that means we have positive 5. 5 minus 2 is positive 3. So what we're going to do now is we're going to write the binomials using these numbers, m minus 2 and m plus 5. So these are the factors of this trinomial. Okay? All right, let's try another problem. This one, if we look for the GCF, we have 4, 7, and 2. They don't have a GCF, so the next step is to factor. So we're going to draw our x. At the top, we're going to have this last number, negative 2. Actually, this is the process for when this is a number 1. But when this is not a number 1, which is what this video is about, is you wanting to get rid of this by multiplying it here and rewriting this as y squared plus 7y, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So what we're actually going to do is kind of multiply it in, and then at the end we'll divide it out. So right here, this will be a negative 8, because that's your c value now. And then the bottom will be positive 7. Okay, so the numbers that will give you 8 are 1 times 8, 2, and 4. And 1 and 8 is what's going to give you 7. And we want to subtract 1 from positive 8, and that will give you positive 7. So this results in in y minus 1 and y plus 8. But we're not done here because we did multiply that 4 up here times this, and then now we gotta undo that by dividing these by 4. Okay, so then now when you divide these, you want to simplify them. So like 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that's y plus 2. And then here we have 1/4. So when this happens, where the fraction doesn't simplify to a whole number, you do want to put that denominator back in the front of that variable right there. So we're going to have 4y minus 1 be the other factor. So these two factors are the factors that will multiply to get that trinomial. Let's try another one. So we have to check for GCF. This one, 9, 12, and 4 don't have all a number in common, so there's no GCF. So same thing, we're going to turn this into two factors. But before we turn those factors, we want to have the y squared by itself. Y squared minus 12y, and then this last number changes because of this times that number. So 9 times 4 is positive 36, and then this is a trinomial we want to factor. We're going to have positive 36 on the top, negative 12 on the bottom. Numbers that you multiply to get 36 are 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and then 6 times 6. So out of these, the combination that will give you 12 is 6 and 6. To get negative 12, they both need to be negative. So we'll have y minus 6 and y minus 6. When we get those, we need to now divide by 9. And then that will give us our final answer. So 6 divided by 9 simplifies to a fraction, which is 2/3. And both of them are the same. So because both of them are fractions, we're going to have this bottom number go to the front. The denominator goes to the front. And then your answer is 3y minus 2 times 3y minus 2, which in reality will be written as 3y minus 2 squared. Okay, let's try one last example. So here we have to check for GCF. The GCF will give us 8, 4, and 24. They all are even numbers and they're all divisible by 4. So 4 will be your number, your coefficient for GCF. Next, we're going to have x4, x3, x2. So that means all of them can have at least 2 x's be taken out, be removed whenever divided by them. So if we divide each part by 4x squared, we're going to have 2x squared minus x minus 6. So 4x squared times 2x squared is 8x to the 4th. 4x squared times negative x, that's negative 4x to the 3rd. And 4x squared times negative 6 is negative 24x squared. Next, we're going to look at this trinomial and factor it into two binomials. And because the a value is not a 1, we're going to be multiplying this times that number. And we're going to get x squared minus x minus 12. This GCF is still going to come down with it. And then from here we draw our x. At the top we're going to have negative 12 from this one and negative 1 from the middle term. The two numbers that multiply to give you 12 is 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and then 3 and 4 will be the one that we will work with. It'll give you a difference of 1, negative 1, so the negative has to be with the 4. We're going to write x plus 3 and x minus 4. And then because we multiplied it in, now we're going to divide it out. So x minus 4 over 2, 4 over 2 is negative 2, so we're going to write x minus 2 on that one. 3 divided by 2 does not divide evenly, so you're going to put it in the front. And we're going to have 2x plus 3. And then this does become 4x squared in the front. So these three are the factors of this trinomial. I hope this video helps you find the process of how to factor.